Hey guys, what's going on? This is my final intro. It's weird to think that we've been slowly unveiling this interview piece by piece for almost a whole year. Not exactly a year, but almost a whole year. I really stretched it out as thin as I could make it, but it's nice to have something to look forward to. And it's not going to stop here because we have started with John Christ. With Ace Von Johnson riding shotgun as my guest co-host, we sat down virtually with John Christ and started going through the nitty-gritty of his incredible music career. So keep your eyes peeled because in the very near future, we will start dishing out that John Christ interview as well. I guess he's also done this elsewhere, but what I really liked about talking with John is that he's got the BC Rich guitar and he kind of plays it as he is telling stories. The dude is such a concise storyteller. One thing flows into another thing, flows into another thing. In a way, it almost makes it hard to be thorough because John just so effortlessly is able to go from one piece to the next piece. It's a gift. Also, don't forget, we still have the Franche Coma episode coming up. We're doing a live episode. We're pulling out all the stops with Franche Coma. We are determined to give you a spectacular show. We'll also make sure to leave a little time at the end so we can maybe do a little Q&A, which is what we intended the last time. And lastly, just to tell you a little bit about the Patreon. Yes, would this not be an introduction without make mention of the Patreon or YouTube memberships? As I told you, I am embarking on some new projects in the near future, narrative and otherwise. Far on the outskirts of the big bad city where Eraserhead probably took place, in the black and white foggy haze of White Plains, Robert, a painter, struggles with the sudden demise and grisly resurrection of his best friend, a rabbit named Shadow. Now, all Robert wants to do is take the girl next door, Sydney, to the jovial Halloween ball and have a good time. But it's hard to have fun when your best friend aspires to be a rock and roll singer and won't stop eating the people you know. And there's so much more to it than that. That is just skimming the surface, and the Patreon and YouTube memberships help to make everything happen. What I really like about Patreon as well as YouTube memberships is the fact that, you know, in exchange for the support, there is wonderful, interesting content that you come to this channel for, but you can't see unless you become a Patreon or YouTube member. So you join the club, you get exclusives, you get early access, secret shows, all sorts of goodies. Recently, we just had another episode of the Lodi Files go up, and that was the uncut, complete interview with Basil Gogos, the famous artist from Famous Monsters of Filmland, all on the Patreon. So make sure you check it out. All right, enough of my spiel. With that, thank you for sticking around and getting through all 8 parts of this series with Eerie Von. And a big special thank you to Eerie Von for being so generous with his time and sitting down and talking out this nitty gritty. I personally wonder if this has any good rewatch value. Like, now that all 8 episodes are out, can you go back to the beginning and just watch it all the way through or listen to it all the way through? It's hours and hours and hours of talking. That's got to be good for some sort of long distance trip, or maybe your work commute, or maybe while you're at your job doing some menial task. That was my favorite part about podcasts when I was at work. It just makes the time go by faster. All right, enough out of me. Woo! Peace and hair grease. Hey guys, what's going on? It's Jeff. So I've decided to make a Patreon. What is Patreon? I don't know how to define a Patreon. Let me look it up. Patreon is a membership platform that makes it very easy for creators to get paid for the things that they're already creating. I want to do it full time. I want this to be my full-time job. In my efforts to make that happen, I've set up this platform. Is it going to work? Is it going to be successful? I don't know, but I would rather try and crash and burn than not try at all. The goal is to create enough passive revenue so that I can continue to do this full-time, uninterrupted. Why? Because I love to do this. I love creating content. I love making videos. I love shooting films. I love doing podcasts. In case you couldn't tell, I love to talk and I never shut the fuck up. So right now I've kept the Patreon incredibly simple. There's 2 tiers, and that may change in the future. The Murdergram is a simple way to extend support for all of the hours and hours of free content on the channel for nothing more than $1. 38 cents goes to Patreon. What's $1.38, eh? It's less than a cup of coffee, but it's a great way that you can show support for very little effort. When you divide that $1.38 by the hours and hours and hours of time spent listening to this endless drivel of content, the dollar cost average works out. Next up is the YouTube Casualty for $6.66. The YouTube Casualty is loaded to the gills. Enjoy the archive ad-free, as well as ad-free early access to special docu-style podcast videos, music reaction commentaries, and the like, a month before they drop on YouTube, loaded with ads, I might add. You're also going to get exclusive content and behind-the-scenes content that is not available on YouTube or anywhere else. So you get to peek behind the veil. And believe me, there's a couple of choice pieces. Most of all, more than anything, whether you join the Patreon or not, I just want to thank each and every one of you that comes to the channel, that watches all the shows, that leaves comments, that participates, that subscribes. That's really the most important thing. This is just trying to find a way to earn a living as an artist. And with that, thank you for my TED Talk. Join the Patreon, because we need you! 66 cents. But what here's another interesting thing. Why would, I was talking about this with Tank, the collector, Jonathan Grimm. Let me ask you this. Why would Glenn have a 12-inch master made for a 7-inch record of Night of Living Dead, in your opinion?
No, I don't know. I don't think he wouldn't. I don't think he would, because he'd have to pay for a 12-inch plate. You'd have to pay for that mastering. There's no reason to have that made. If you're going to press a 12-inch, you get a 12-inch plate made. That's how you master. Masters onto a metal plate. So there's no reason for that. He could have been considering making it a 12-inch, but it doesn't make any sense, because he didn't. He even doing the Die My Darling, the costs were just the same as you were making an album, so it really didn't make any sense, especially back that time when money was way tighter. So I don't even know. So has he seen this acetate?
It's not an acetate. I think it's I don't know. Maybe it is an acetate. Well, what's interesting is, it is an acetate.
It's a plate. It would be a plate.
What's interesting is
acetate is the vinyl. If it's a plate, it's just the metal.
Right. No, maybe it was just the plate, and it was in George Germain's possession, as I recall. And he was with Jerry, and they were doing something for George Germain, and he opened up a thing, and that's where they found all these plates, these Misfits Records plates, and I guess this was before he turned stuff over to. Oh no, maybe it was after he turned stuff over. It'd have to be after he turned stuff over to Caroline, but the idea that if it was on a 12-inch plate, that it maybe was initially intended as a 12-inch record, and then for whatever reason, maybe budget costs, that it got sized down to a 7-inch. But I don't know anything about this stuff. Can you make a 7-inch record from a 12-inch plate? Does it even work that way, or is there a way to do that, or is that just crazy?
No, what they do is the actual pressing things. They put the label on the little glob black, and then it squirts out as much as the little plates catch it, and then there's a little lathe thing that goes around and trims off the excess. So if you're doing a 12-inch, it's pressed onto as far as the plate goes. that's when it stops, and then it gets cut off on the end. So if you were trying to do a 12-inch and make a 7-inch, it would
It,
never happen.
that would
It
never
just
happen.
wouldn't
Yeah,
work.
that'd be
Yeah.
weird.
No, it couldn't be done. No, it couldn't be done.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
And that's how they used to see. They used to send you home or ship to you the 7-inch. I think they gave it to you on the way home after the mastering. I can't forget. There was the mothers, and then there was the mastering. But one was one way, one was another way, or one was one side, one was the other side, and they would put them in a little cardboard envelope. It was like weird. They put a big sticker on it, said, like, do not drop, do not scratch, or something. So that would have been in a big cardboard sort of thingy, even for the 7 inches. I have the Rosemary's Babies one somewhere. I don't know where they are, but that's what we all used the same people. So most likely would have been
Right.
Master Disc. I thought Glenn used Howie from Master Disc, who was a big deal back then. And I think he told me to ask Howie, and I think Howie by then was mastering, like, I don't know, the Eagles or somebody, dead Fogelberg, you know.
Um, Here, okay, we're gonna do two more things, and then I'm gonna wrap this up because it's 4 a.m. and I have to wake up as well.
Okay.
Here's what we're gonna do. First thing I want to ask you about, which is what I should have asked you about at the very beginning of our conversation. In 1982, was there a flood in Lodi, or what do you remember about the flooding in Lodi that led to potentially the graveyard dirt breaking up and coffins floating around in water? What do you know about that? Did that happen? Is that real? What's the deal with that?
Oh, well, there's a flood like every other year in Lodi, so I don't remember one particularly. That was our graduation year, so I don't know if it would have been in '82, but the flood would go up to like you would see the tops of houses. It was just the way it was right on a river. The river would overflow in no time, and there was nowhere for the water to go, and it poured off the highway. There was Route 46. It was horrible. There'd be an overpass where the cars would just be stuck. It happened every couple of years. Um, I I remember it well as a kid. Like, look, you could swim down to John's house. Um,
What about the
but
coffins?
the coffins, there was a casket company. It was called Bridge Casket, and once it got flooded, and some of them were floating around, but it was no big. It wasn't. They weren't coming up from the graveyards or nothing. It was just it got that was like one of those local things. It flooded so much all the caskets floated away from British Casket Company. Could have been one of those jokes around the pizza.
Right in the
Yeah,
pool.
right. No, it wasn't that romantic. No.
And okay, here's how we're going to wrap this up in a super cliche way that's going to make Eerie groan, but this is what we're going to do. First, I want to
You
thank
need a
Eerie.
you want me to say, hey, you're listening to the
No,
such and such
nope,
dickhead podcast.
nope. That's not my MO.
Okay.
That's not my MO. I will
Okay.
not ask you to do that.
Oh,
Um,
I don't care. All right,
I
that's
wouldn't,
fine. That's
no, I
enough.
wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. I want to know, I want you to pick 5 Misfit songs, 5 favorite Misfit songs, 5 favorite Samhain songs, 5 favorite Danzig songs. And I guess I also, oh, fuck, we didn't talk about? We didn't talk about what you think about all the other Danzig. Do you listen to any of the Danzig albums after you? Have you listened to any of that shit, or are you just kind of like out of sight, out of mind?
No, of course I want him to put out good records. I still fan still. I mean, I was a fan back then, and I was his friend. So, when the records come out, I remember when my first ex-wife used to say, "Glenn's got a new record out," and I'd be like, "Okay, let's hear it." So she'd play it. I say, "Okay, stop, go to the next." So I listened to any. If it didn't get interesting, I didn't go on. I would go next record come out. I do the same thing. I would be like, if some riff or some sound good, but as soon as he started going, I was like, that's enough. Or I hear some stuff. I was just like, no, so I wasn't really interested. But I do enjoy reading that the fans are happy. They're they they do think it's kind of funny. They laugh at Glenn a little bit. They're very respectful, which I think is very nice. But they do poke fun of him now and again. But they're like, hey, but I still love him, and he put on a great show. Like they might give him some shit, but I really liked it. The fact that they say, hey, hasn't sounded this good in 10 years, things like that. That makes me happy. I want everybody to have a good time. The song's great. I want him to look good. I don't want him to, I want him to sound good mostly. But, I want him to out gracefully. I mean, I don't know how much longer he's going to do this.
You brought up a very interesting point that is on my list, and we forgot to cover this. And real quick, Danzig and the internet. This is a fascinating phenomenon that's occurred in the last 20 years, I would say, really like 15 years, where like Danzig has sort of become like there is like this cult around Danzig where like it's almost like the internet takes special focus on Danzig because Danzig takes himself very seriously, or at least on a public level, he takes himself very seriously. And as a result, you get all this like internet shit. What do you think about all that? Or what was your reaction when you start? And I'm sure you've seen some of this stuff. Like, I mean, what goes through your head when you see all of that stuff?
It makes me laugh because um, it was going on when I was, in the band and when I knew him and stuff. And for some reason, I was thinking about, oh, I remember when you had to explain you were in a band and who this guy was and stuff, because nobody had heard of the Misfits and stuff. And he had to say, like, oh, the singer's Glenn from the Misfits, you might have heard, but you couldn't say, what's not like Danzig, you could say, well, Danzig, that song Mother? That's all you have to say because everybody knows that. The guy at the grocery store today said, I heard you were in one of those bands, and stuff. And he's like, he said, what song would I know from yours? I was like, how old are you? He said, 45. I said, Mother. And he said, yeah, my wife liked that band or whatever. So yeah, that's what I deal with. Yeah, no, yeah, that's ridiculous.
Let's do the top five of each. This is your
Oh yeah.
top five each.
I
And
can't even remember all the songs. I can't remember all the songs.
yeah, of course you
We
remember the
didn't.
songs.
I liked. No, I really don't. I haven't listened to them because the production is so terrible. It's like, why bother? I'd rather play them with somebody because the kids always want me to get up and sing all Murder, all Guts, all Fun, or play guitar, play
Do
bass,
you
or whatever.
are
So
you
I can remember those.
does it bother you the way that some of those albums are mixed?
Yeah, the whole thing, the recording and the mixing. It could have been so much better, but that's just what way it was, what we knew. It was more
Right.
about getting back on the road, doing the band thing and putting out records that we liked and doing something we thought was going to be the rest of our lives. So
Right.
that was like, come on, let's get going. So we took it all seriously and we did the best we can. So it's very very easy for me to go back and say, oh, I would, because I know so much more now. I know how to make a better sounding record, so I could do this. But back then, you didn't know nothing, so I don't feel too. I don't lose a lot of sleep about it.
All right, let's do this. Top five each, and a song that you would
Well,
recommend
how about
to
do you
someone.
know that? Do you know like the albums? Like, could you tell me what's on each album? I can tell you which one I like on
I
that
could,
album.
I could, I could do that, but that's not the point. But it's the point is that you're picking five songs from each band. I can't just, I can't just go album by album for all three bands and then you cherry pick songs. You got to pick five songs that you love.
All
You
right, all
agree
right.
with two
Stop
out of the three.
explaining. Stop explaining. Stop explaining. All right.
Okay.
Let's see. Misfit songs. I like the whole Three Hits from Hell EP. I like that's my favorite
Okay,
record.
so those are three songs.
That's
That's three
three
songs
songs
right
right
off the
there.
bat. That's a little lazy, but
I
I'll
do.
accept it.
Yeah, too bad. Yeah, I really like the version of Night of the Living Dead, or is it
Right.
Eagles there? I'm not sure. I think it's Night of the Living Dead on 12 Hits from Hell.
Okay. Okay.
And
That's four.
I've always, I always like the Walk Among Us version of 20 Eyes.
Okay.
a lot.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Now I liked how
That's
they
5.
kept the live from Jerry countdown. Jerry went, "This one's called 20
20
Eyes." That's
eyes.
from that
What
Rich
did
show.
you-
Yeah.
Let me ask you
Yeah.
this. What is, you have one song, someone's never heard of the Misfits before, and you want to encapsulate, you want to recommend the Misfits, or you want to be like, okay, they can only listen to one song to get what the Misfits are entirely about. You have to pick one song that encapsulates everything about the Misfits that you want to sell.
I understand that. Yeah, I get it. I got it in the first 5 seconds. Yeah,
Okay,
I
go.
tell them to listen to London Dungeon. I would say London Dungeon.
Okay.
You know, that
Okay.
would, because it's all about the attitude and the image, and that would get them. And then the faster songs and stuff would make more sense. But it's all, for me. The Misfits are all about singing, the romantic, the romance of like the whole horror movies, and that that the way it sounded. So that's a great example, because it bridges the gap between Static Age and like Walk Among Us.
Do you want to know what I would pick? The one song that I would recommend? Do you want to know, Eerie?
We make stickers, banners, and buttons too. Posters and promo cards. There's nothing we can't print for you. From stage backdrops to bass drum heads. We can print on shirts. We can print on hats. We can print on pants. Cheap prices and high quality. Quick turnaround times and free shipping. We also offer free artwork support. Great customer service and so much more. RiotStickers.com. Riot Stickers, we are the bomb. RiotStickers.com. Riot Stickers, we are the bomb. RiotStickers.com. Riot Stickers, we are the bomb. RiotStickers.com. Riot Stickers, we are the bomb.
Of course I do. Yes, I'm dying.
Okay. I would pick Astro Zombies.
Good song. Great song.
What do
I
you
love
think
that
about
song.
my pick? Do you think it's a good pick?
Yeah, who cares? They're all great. You could
Yeah.
have picked anything, but I do like that. I don't like Nike. I think that's a ridiculous song.
Yeah, but that's not a good
I do
first
like
song.
parts of it, but
That's
I
not
think
a good
it's
first
stupid.
song. I wouldn't be
Yeah.
like, hey, check out the Misfits. Here's Nike a Go-Go. You want something with woes.
No, see, I
You know?
think, yeah, see, but that's where you got to get hate breeders, though. There's a lot of woes in that one,
Yeah.
know.
Good point. Okay, good
And
point.
hate breeders is that mid-tempo kind of, like, that was Glenn's, like, that was Glenn's attempt at a hit song back then, I bet. That Die Die My Darling was supposed to be, here's our next single, from that one show. I remember I recorded that off of the I've got a third generation tape of the channel show. So I recorded off the videotape onto thing, and it's, here's our next single, and he played Die Die My Darling. That's why it was a 12-inch, because he thought it was going to be
Wait a minute. You were up at the Channel Club show?
No, I couldn't go. My uncle died that weekend, so I didn't go because I stayed home for the funeral. But I was supposed to go, but I got a copy of the videotape when they got back, like that week or whatever. So somewhere I have an original. It was a copy off of Jerry and Doyle's tape.
Wow.
So it probably went from those guys, from that deck to, so it's like third
Pristine.
generation.
Pristine, considering.
No, yeah, considering what you see.
Considering,
of it
yeah.
lately. But and then I had the whole thing audio taped on a cassette, and I used to listen to that. Yeah, it looked pretty good. Considering, but it's still a train wreck, the whole thing. Like, if you turn it on and they're in the middle of a song, you have no idea where it is, and that's pretty much what it was. But it was a good looking one. Yeah.
Do you think that it never would have worked out with Bobby and Doyle in the band, but had they somehow made it work as a 5-piece where you had Bobby's guitar finesse and you had Doyle with the image and doing like his rhythm thing. Do you think that it would
Like they're
have
doing now. Like they're doing now.
literally like what they're doing now, but with Bobby, do you think that it would
Yeah,
have?
it could. They could be doing what they're doing now with Bobby if they could just get along. Like Bobby and Jerry have some kind of problem. I don't think Glenn has a problem with Jerry. Over the years, I've heard him say things that sounded kinder towards him or about him. So I think Jerry and him had some kind of problem because I think during the lawsuit, this is a story I heard. I could be wrong. That if Bobby wanted to be involved, in the 4 or 5 people that were going to have their name on the suit as whatever, the plaintiffs, I guess. Bobby had to do a certain amount of legwork, to help the cause. And well, Bobby's got a bad leg, and when you say legwork, that means actual legwork, which I would think would just be on the phone work. And Bobby, they said, we need you to go up there and check these record stores and do this, something like that. It's some kind of legwork. And Bobby said he couldn't do it. And then Jerry said, that's it. You're not involved in the lawsuit. I'm not sure that's exactly what happened, but that's what I've heard. So it could be that. Well, if I heard it, you heard it, because I only heard it, mostly through the grapevine. Because we never talked about the lawsuit stuff. And even with Doyle, I never talked about it. I probably talked about it more with Tom, and he didn't really know anything. But, there was always talk about like numbers and things, what they had to do. But I did read that the thing about when they settled the recent thing the last 10 years ago, whatever it was, that they were going to do 10 shows, and that was it. And I, all along, when I heard about the reunion, I said, oh yeah, they'll do those 10 shows and they'll see that it's worth a damn, and they'll do more shows. They might go to Europe, they'll be like, they'll make it easy though. They'll fly to all the gigs. They won't have to do anything. They probably won't. They'll rehearse if it's really important. If I know Jerry, he'll be rehearsing every day anyway. He'll probably be calling Doyle and saying, hey, you got to come over and rehearse the song, rehearse the set. And then all Glenn has to do is show up, and a guy like they'll call Lombardo or whoever, I'm sure he would drop it to give him enough notice. So as long as it's easy, I could see them doing it for the next 5 or 10 years,
Oh, no, I think it's going to be it's going to be cash sooner than later, man. I just can't. I feel like it's, I don't know. I don't know how much longer it could possibly go on. I will say this. I remember right after the Denver Riot Fest show, that was the first show they did. And I remember feeling such a sense of urgency to go to the Chicago one, because in my mind, I was like, they might have like gotten into a big fist fight after the show. Like they might not even do the second show. Maybe there won't be another show. Like this is literally the only chance to see this happen. Like you got like, who knows how long this is going to sustain for. And much like, democracies and countries, 2 countries with McDonald's, generally speaking, are never going to attack each other because money. So, it's that kind of thing.
Well, these days it would definitely be, whoever was thinking about, oh, we can't do this because we'll get sued or we'll lose this money or whatever. Something could be easily done. Like Glenn would just say, fuck it, I'm not doing it. He wouldn't do it, because he doesn't care if he gets sued. And like, it's one of those things, it's more of an Italian thing where they do, I'm not doing it just because, or I'm not doing it because of some dopey reason.
Right.
So it was totally possible, and I thought of that too. But cooler heads prevail, and you try to explain. Everything is about business. Even if somebody has to sue you, it's still about business. It's not personal. But I knew you would want to talk to me about it anyway. But no hard feelings. And if you were a mature businessman, you would say, "Yeah, I understand it's about business." Whatever. But nobody likes to get sued, and nobody likes to, give up money that they owe, but they don't want to give it up anyway. but it's more of an Italian thing. They're like, yeah, trying to separate the business from the pleasure. Doesn't always happen, especially with the Italians. So I could have seen it happen. Both of those hotheads going crazy over the artwork on something, or you put your name is a quarter-inch bigger than mine.
Right. Exactly that. All right. Samhain, 5 songs, Samhain, and 1 song that you would introduce to someone. So someone who's never heard Samhain, you want to show them what Samhain is about. So 5 and 1, go ahead.
I like November's Fire. It's got that nice jangly guitar thing, and it was a little classy, I thought, and I loved Glenn's delivery on that. It was like sort of that monotone thing.
Yep.
And I remember that having a lot of nice little bits about it. What was I like? I can't remember. I like Let the Day Begin. I like All Murder, All Guts, All Fun. It's got to be my favorite. He Who Cannot Be Named is always a big pleaser.
Love that song.
And I don't know, one of those other ones.
Come on.
Something off of all the songs on Unholy Passion are all psycho. They're all like Hungry and I Am Misery and all those. Those are all nutso songs. They can't be a favorite.
You gotta just pick one.
One other one. Got to be another one off of Initium that I'm forgetting about. I don't really like Black Dream. That always was annoying. Oh, I liked In My Grip. Was that one of our
great
songs?
Song?
I liked In My Grip because that
is that a Misfits song? It's a friggin' November Coming Fire song.
Yeah, I like that one. It was hard to play though because that was just In My Grip. Whatever the Misfits song was. What was it? Oh, Green Hell. The one it was really long. You had that long guitar, chord where you just stayed on the chord while Glenn did like a whole verse without changing. It's like
oh yeah.
Does the most, yeah. See that?
You know what?
In My Grip. That was Our Green Hell.
You know what else too? Play. You were talking about that in an interview. What's that? You were saying, what's that Samhain song that reminds me of Green Hell? And you know what I thought? I thought you were talking about The Birthing. Isn't that's very similar?
No, I don't even remember that one. All the stuff off the 4th one, I don't remember. I do remember I liked the demos that were supposed to be that for like the Twist of Cain. I had that somewhere. I had that somewhere on a cassette that just said Samhain Grim on it, and it had. I was trying to remember if Twist of Cain had the riff in it, or if it was just buried in the mix, or that the riff came with Ruben, like he heard the riff and said, "You should put this riff in." I can't remember because I knew I loved
the riff. It's a chugging riff. It's the original Samhain version. It just chugs. It's whatever, however it goes. It just chugs along, as opposed to the Twist of Cain, which is like slow.
It's A and C.
Okay.
Yeah, it's A and C.
Yeah, but his vocal,
and then it goes to D.
Yeah, but what's so cool about those versions?
D flat, D sharp. Yeah, go ahead.
No, but what's so cool about those versions is that he's singing them with like that Samhain growl. He's not doing the Danzig purr. It's like the Samhain bark, growl, whatever you want to call it, on what essentially were going to become Danzig songs. I like that. I think it looks cool. Sounds cool. Okay, pick one Samhain song that encompasses how you would introduce Samhain to someone who's never heard Samhain before.
I'd play All Murder. If they can handle that, they can handle all the rest of it.
Do you know what I would pick, Eerie?
What?
I would pick The Shift.
I don't know. It's just another song. It was just a part. It was just another part of a song. It was supposed to be three parts, and it was only 2 parts. So it's just like,
Oh my
okay.
God. I'm so glad we almost didn't fucking talk about it. The Urge. Tell me about The Urge. Tell me about the third
Yeah.
part. Tell me.
I never heard it. From all I know is he never wrote it. He just told me it was gonna be the third part. I never heard any of it. I don't even think it exists in his mind. Maybe he just never got around to it. I don't know why. Either he didn't write it, or he didn't have the idea, or it just wasn't any good, or I mean, why put the two? I mean, the one song, "The How," can stand by itself. I didn't see what. So I think he probably thought that. I don't remember talking about it. That he thought the two songs could stand on their own, and then he could talk about this mythical trilogy that was never going to happen.
Wow, I'm so glad we almost forgot to talk about that, and I would have kicked myself by after this recording would have ended. That would have made me so mad. Okay, 5 songs from Danzig, 1 song as a recommendation.
I like "Long Way Back from Hell" a lot.
Love it. Love it.
I like that whole record for the most part. Let's see what else is on that. I like "Pain in the World" a lot.
Okay. That's 2.
It's just real dramatic. Let's see. The only thing I don't like on that is "Girl," which is probably your favorite song.
Why would you assume that?
Because every time you say something that I totally disagree with, I go like figures.
No, you want to know what? You know what's a great song? Fucking Sistina's is a great one of the one of the best Danzig songs ever.
Yeah, but all I can think about is the fat porn chick that Glenn got in the movie because he was banging her.
Oh my Lord. Wait, in what movie? Oh, in the
no,
in
not
the music
movie,
video.
in the video.
Right,
yeah.
right.
And we weren't even invited. It was just like I only went down there to do stills, and I just gave him the film and left. I never saw what I shot. I bet you he never developed it.
It's just sitting somewhere collecting dust.
No, "Blood and Tears" was a good song. I like that one a lot when he could sing it. Sistina's was just a version of that. Like another, he was like, well, they liked "Blood and Tears," so instead of singing that song when he gets tired or in the middle of the set, when we need people to take a break, we'll play Sistina's, and that's why we did that. It's the way you work your set out. Just to make it more like either a story or just a way for people to get through the show and still enjoy themselves.
Yeah, no, makes sense to me.
Let's see, Left Hand Black's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
So that's 4.
Yep.
I'm probably forgetting something.
No Love for Danzig 1. What's up with that?
Yeah, I'm thinking of that. Oh, I love all the songs on there, like "End of Time" and songs like that. Those real epic songs.
It's a great.
Yeah. Well,
phenomenal.
I think they're very, very similar, but still really nice arrangements and stuff. I think I still got to go with "Twist the Cane" because it really gets people going, and it's always fun to play. It's how I did most of the damage to my spine.
Really.
So there you go. And if I was gonna, I really liked "Am I Demon," but it's just bitch to play, and I had to develop different style to play it towards the end. But I was just like, I got to hit all the notes, man. But I can't do it like I used to. Let me think. What song I would tell him to play. I really think "Pain in the World" is what I loved about Danzig. It was this creepy, beautiful, like poetry, mood music that could be real heavy at one moment and real like tender at another moment, and still be cool, and the chicks would dig it, that kind of thing. And so that, or like "Long Way Back from Hell" for the real balls to the wall kind of Danzig that we were when we were on stage, that kind of thing. But in the more dramatic moments, I like 777. That's a great. I loved playing that live because it had so much drama to it, and Glenn could sing it so well, and then it just came in and went all out, and then it just dropped and it got all quiet again. And it was,
Dynamics.
I really like that.
Dynamics.
And that's the way we recorded them. That the way they sound is because we played it that way. It's like we didn't play hard the whole time, and they just brought us down in the mix. We played it like it was a conversation, or
Yeah.
a way you were talking to the pretty girl, the way you got, the way things had to be. Today they don't even think of that stuff. I know it. I was talking to somebody about that too. They said you got to. We were telling a story, and when you're doing that, you don't say it all the same volume, and you don't say it all the same way. You move it around,
Right.
So that's what people forget.
Another reason why you would love the Pixies, because they're all about dynamics. Loud, quiet, loud. You would love it. You will love Doolittle. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I know, but that was the thing in the '90s or whatever. That was just a thing everybody did. Loud, soft, loud. That was a thing.
True.
Yeah, Mel likes the Pixies. My second reason I don't like the Pixies is the name, the Pixies. I'm not buying a record by
Oh man, but if you ever hear
Sorry.
Black Francis scream, you're like,
There's
holy
another
shit.
reason. His name is Black Francis.
No.
Yeah, I just, I
Frank
don't
Black.
care.
Frank Black.
I don't have enough space in my brain for this. I've got better things to do or other music I want to listen to. So yeah, I'll tell Mel you recommend them, and that's as far as it'll go.
Good. Do you want to know what my one pick for Danzig would be?
Sure.
Okay, I'm going to tell you, Eerie. It's Possession.
All right. Good for you.
I really like that song a lot. I'm glad that you feel that way, that you appreciate that. I think it might be one of the best Danzig tracks out there. It's really, really, really good. Really good. Talk about a song transformed from the original Samhain version, which is very subdued, although interesting, to what it becomes in Danzig. It's great. Love it.
Yeah, it always felt like it was still a Samhain song to me. I never really liked it. So, but I'm glad it's your favorite. It wasn't.
Let me tell you something. You guys played that live like early on, and those live versions of Possession that you did live, as you were just saying about like how it was like a conversation, like you guys were insane when you played that song. Played it towards the end of the set, like ferocious. It was a ferocious live rendition of that song. Blew my mind listening to it.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I don't remember us being any more vigorous on any one song, but Possession was just never one of my favorites. It seemed like it wasn't going forward where we're going. Like Twisted Cane, it was Danzig was a Samhain song, but we had moved it. Now it felt like the new band. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was very
felt like
changed.
the past to me.
Interesting.
Yeah, but I know, but it still felt like a Samhain song to me. So that's why I don't really remember so much about it. Like I remember playing, End of Time and how dramatic I thought that whole part was. Waiting at the end, like the whole thing was moving,
Yep.
And then we were gonna go to the big da 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 da, the lights were flashed and all this. It was like, yeah, it was a lot of drama in that stuff.
That was a closer, right? End of Time was kind of like a closer song.
Oh, I
Finish
can't
the set.
remember that far back, Yeah, I know, but I can't remember what we used to do. We did some songs that naturally went into other songs, but I don't remember exactly what we used to close with. I think we changed the set as whenever we felt like it. It wasn't like one set thing because we didn't have programmed lights or anything like that, or no triggers, so we had options for middle of the set, close, the closing, and whatever seemed to work the best, and then whatever encores. I do remember closing a lot with opening up and also closing at a different point in time with Long Way Back from Hell. That was always my favorite, no matter if it was opening.
Yeah, right. Sometimes you would open it. Right. Yes. Sometimes it would open.
And ending it was just like, it was such a great song to end the set with too, because it just left you so hyped up, and there was never a letdown. And it's a great song. It's one of my all-time favorites. because I love the movie Angel Heart, and I always thought it was written about Angel Heart.
There's a lot
Makes a lot of sense.
There's a lot of Angel Heart. You know what I think your best opener was? Like the best had to have been Godless. Was just what a killer way to open a show with just going in with Chuck Biscuits going crazy. Glenn comes out, goes crazy. It's just so, and talk once again, talk about dynamics. There's a lot of dynamics in Godless. Same thing with How the Gods Kill. But it's just there's a lot of dynamics in that song, and that's what makes it so great. It's a roller coaster, that song. Friggin' roller coaster.
Yes, it was. It was. I wish we had done more visually, but I think that what we were allowed to use, the songs and the way we played them, it was nice. It was a nice set. You kept your interest, and we played the songs well. So I think everything was really good, and had the dramatic stuff. It was there, and the people liked it. Stuff made them crazy now and then. It was all good shit.
Eerie, I want to thank you so much for this incredible career spanning, in depth conversation where you indulged every single one of my nerdy whims. You broke my balls. You gave me a good ribbing when I deserved it. This was a spectacular conversation, and I just want to thank you. Truly. Thank you for doing this.
You're very welcome. As long as you don't make people listen to the whole thing.
I will.
You keep it for yourself and do a nice 2 hours, or whatever.